I'm Jennifer Bagley, CEO of CI Web Group, and today you guys we're going to talk a little bit about how to build your business, how to grow your business. How many of you want to grow? Is that important to you? Yes? Yes? Okay. At some point, you guys started this business. Are you the owner?
Yes.
Owner? I know you're not. Yes? Owner? And you guys?
I'm retired and new owner.
Oh, you decided to do it twice?
That's right.
Man, I love you. That's golden. At some point, when we decide to become an entrepreneur, I am an entrepreneur as well. That means we gave up something steady, right? We gave up a paycheck on a W-2 with taxes coming out. And we gave up what kind of benefits we had, some kind of guarantee. We gave up a lot, and we did it. Why did we do it? We wanted more what? Money, time, and freedom. Fair? Every one of us starts our business for the exact same reason. I want more time, money, and freedom. I think I can do it better than they can. Right? And then we get into business, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh. No one on our team understands the commitment that it took to build this business. No one understands that you've spent every dollar on every credit card, you've borrowed, you've begged, you've pleaded, you've spent money before you could actually afford to hire someone. They're like, where's my paycheck? You're like, dude, I couldn't even afford you when I hired you. Like, we need to make this work, right? As an entrepreneur, you guys are solely responsible. Your business is technically more difficult than mine. I have 100 full-time employees, but what I don't have is trucks, insurance, all the equipment. You guys are storing stuff. You have a business that has a lot of responsibilities. You don't have a lot of time to play around with garbage when it comes to trying to build the business. You don't have a lot of time to make mistakes because time isn't here forever. Money isn't growing on trees. Last time I looked, I couldn't find that. And we have a short window to make the why behind our business, behind what we did, happen. If it's to retire and sail off into the sunset, if it's to hand the company down to your kids, if it's simply to be able to have something that generates income while you go do something else, whatever your why is, we've got to make it happen, and we have to condense time to make it happen faster. Otherwise, you're constantly living in Groundhog's Day. Always starting over. I call it rocking chair syndrome. Always moving, busy being busy, never going forward, never making progress. I wish I could see the P&Ls of the company and cash flow statements and bank accounts when I'm sitting down with the business to see how to tell them what they should do first. Because it would be easier if we were honest. It'd be easier if I was able to sit my tail in the business owner's position and go, okay, whatever the reality is, that reality is going to change how you make decisions. The fundamentals of how to grow a heating and air conditioning company technically don't change. All the businesses doing well are doing the exact same thing. So the beautiful part for you guys is there's no magic sauce. There's no like someone has a secret that other people don't know and that's how it was. For the majority of it, they're all doing the same thing, which is good. Now, for you guys, we've got to be able to implement something that systemically produces a better and better result. The only thing that really changes for you guys is when did you get started doing the right thing, and who is the competitive pages, I'm going to say, not companies, in your area that you got to play the game with. Let me show you how this works. In all of your companies, you need to have some kind of a storefront. I'm not talking about the physical space. I'm just talking about a website. In today's environment, that's what people use as their store. You guys been to a shopping mall recently. What does it look like? Are they going out of businesses? You go to retail stores, they're going out of business. People are making decisions digitally. So for you guys, as dads and husbands and wives and homeowners, when you need something and it's not on Amazon, how do you go find it? What do you do if you need to hire a service?
Just Google it.
You'd Google it. What would you do? Google it. What do you do? Google it, Google it, Google it, Google it. Same, same, same. Perfect. Everybody does the exact same thing. When you Google it, how many of you click on the ads at the very top of Google? No, no, nope, nope. I got to sometimes charging your competitor 40 bucks a pop? Or because you're doing research, or because you actually click on the ads?
No, I click on the ads.
Okay, what about you? Sometimes? Nope? Nope, nope, okay. I don't click on the ads. How many of you click on the maps? If you see a map and it's got 3 options?
Yes, I can.
Yes, yes, yes. I got a yes. What about the first page of Google, top 10 listings? Yes is all the way around. What about page 2? No is all the way around. So for me as a business owner, I literally rather listen to a group of soccer moms tell me how they buy than an agency any day. When we have people come to try and apply for jobs in my company and they try and pitch me on pay-per-click, I'm like, you got the wrong one. I speak for a living. I have thousands and thousands of people sitting in an audience that I get to ask them, and have for the last decade, how do you buy? How many of you guys are using Alexa? Or Google Home? Yes. Yes. Siri.
It's spy on us.
Okay? Every one of us we're changing the devices that we use to search, right? We're changing how we search. So it used to be that we would just type on a computer. Then we started using our phones, and we started searching by typing in things on our phones. Then we started talking to our phones. Then we started talking to our watches. Hey Siri, what's the best air conditioning repair company in Houston, Texas? Then we started talking to Alexa and Google Home. Every one of these different devices creates a new opportunity for you guys to get found online, for people searching for the services you want to sell in the cities you want to sell them. We just have to make sure that the infrastructure is set up for you to be able to go to market, and it starts with, what's your store look like? Do you have a store? Now when I say a website's a store, I mean a brick and mortar store. I mean it has framework, it has a floor, it has a roof, it has wiring, it has ceiling, and so forth. If the frame of a store is broke, if you go to a store, you can't tell how to get in, it looks like it's scary, it's insecure, there's bars on it, it's out of compliance, there's signs that are big warnings saying don't come in here, you know, it's condemned. You're not going to do real well in the store. That's primarily where everyone in the heating and air conditioning, plumbing, and quite frankly, the entrepreneurial world sitting right now is in a condemned store. That's the starting point. So having a condemned store and then spending money on all these marketing things, the bottom line is the store is driving away consumers. It's either not an option for the things you want to sell, or if you get found, it scares them and they're out, or they don't convert. If you've ever had traffic come to your website and they don't call, they don't click, they don't text, they don't chat, they don't schedule, it's either because those things aren't an option or because something scares them. It doesn't feel right being there. When you guys find somebody on page 1 of Google, if the website looks bad, scary, incorrect, in the wrong location, what do? You go back and next. Well, the same thing happens here. So when it comes to building a site, the challenges are typically that we want to go with what's fast, free, or whoever's in our office that went to marketing school and thinks they can build a website. But the reality of what it takes to build a website, we on average have 20 different resources that are working on a website, because every single piece of it is different. What you guys see is you see the front. You guys see this. You see what the front of a website looks like. Technically, all this is the clothing on it. A designer creates the clothing. A developer writes the code. They're not the same humans. Mom don't give birth to those two humans in the same body. One went to art school, is creative, dresses nice, and has real friends. That's a designer. One is not. They live in the garage. If you ask them what they're doing, they're like, oh, I've got hanging out with friends. There's not a car in the driveway. And their friend's name is like AK-47. They're different humans. Developers who code or build the store are different than the people that dress it. But most of your decisions are going to be based on what you can see. So first off, we call it a development first mentality, is we've got to make sure that we have somebody that knows what they're doing when it comes to constructing the store, because that can throw off everything. If you have a beautiful website and it's not real smart, we'll just leave it at that. How well does that work for you? So, inside the store, in every single website, if I have a store with nothing inside it, if it's empty, what can I sell? Nothing. If I have a store and it has 5 products inside the store, what can I sell? 5 products, right? If I have a store and I put 200 products inside that store, now what can I sell? If I have a store like Amazon or Walmart, retail or digital, that has 1 million products in the store, now what can I sell? You get the difference, right? So for you guys, most of the time when I go look at somebody's website, I can tell you what they do in annual sales. I can go look at almost any dealer's website, pull it up, 20 pages, I know you're doing less than $500,000 in total sales. Because mathematically you can't do more. Now there's other things that can impact that. If you have a commercial business, that's going to not rely on the website as much. If you have other businesses like plumbing or electrical, there's some things that will change that. But for the most part, I can look at anybody's business and tell you the size of the company based on what's inside the store. Now I can dive in and I can see how are things labeled in the store. So if I want to see what does Google see, you see how it says site:barronheating.com? What this is telling me is Google sees 794 pages in that store. Products in the store. So pages on the website, products in the store. Pages on the website, products in the store. For this one, there's 794 of them. So think about it this way. What do you want to sell? Where do you want to sell it? Are you an option on page 1 of Google? And do you look the best when they get there? That's all marketing is. It's not anything more than that. So what do you want to sell? What do you want to sell?
Furnaces and AC.
Okay, so let's start with that. From a digital standpoint, if I want to sell furnaces, I want you to watch what happens here. You guys seen Bruce Almighty? The movie? Okay, you know when he's standing in the garage and he says, anything you've ever said, anything you've ever done, anything you've ever thought is in this drawer. And the file cabinet flies across the entire warehouse and it's filled with pieces of paper, right? When you go do a search online, i.e. furnaces, a single file drawer just flew across an entire warehouse, and inside that drawer, that is the total number of pages that are inside that drawer. So there is 177 million pages in that drawer. In order for you to make any money, you need to be in the top 10 of that number. Here's where we want to be very, very careful. When we're in a digital space and we say furnaces or air conditioners or heat pumps and so forth, we start to function or think like an e-commerce site. We would be competing with e-commerce-like projects or e-commerce-like companies. So when you want to sell furnaces, all of a sudden your manufacturers are now your competitors, your Home Depots, your Walmarts, your Lowe's. I got lots of manufacturers. Direct e-commerce, Walmart, Amazon, all of these products that are showing up over here. You guys technically need to start off selling services. So I know what you mean, but if you have a company that you hire for your marketing and they're not an expert in heating and air conditioning, they will make the mistake of taking whatever it is you say and building a website with just that. I'm glad you said furnaces and AC, because a lot of people will say furnaces and cooling. And that's what people are putting on websites, furnaces and cooling. When you're in an environment where you're focused as if you were a e-commerce store. Now you're fighting price. Your budget has to be the same or similar as Home Depot or a manufacturer site, and your opportunity goes way, 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 way down unless you focus on something extremely unique or not well marketed, like a ductless. We'll go ductless air conditioner. It went from hundreds of millions of competitive pages to 11 million competitive pages. Now, if I want to sell ductless air conditioner installation, where's your office at? What city?
Toronto, Ontario.
Did you come here with Jeff? Farah? Awesome. He's one of my favorite people. What happened to the total number of pages in the drawer? You would need to be in the top 10 of that number. Is that a better day than the ones before? Okay, there's only 102,000 pages. What? We can do that with our eyes closed. If I take the word ductless off, it goes from 102,000 to 6 million pages. If I change from installation to repair, repair is a higher search term than installation. Installation now has, or excuse me, repair has 155 million pages. So as you're constructing your website, everything you put on that site, every service you want to sell and city you want to sell it, is either there for show, meaning you're willing to go find traffic and consumers who are interested in what you sell, and they're going to have the opportunity to go look at the page, but you work for your website, or it's there to work for you. If you have a page on your website that says ductless air conditioner installation Toronto, or let's just go look at ductless air conditioner, for example. Will you install a ductless air conditioning system? Sure. Okay. So I just looked for ductless air conditioner, which means now I'm not service, I'm product. There's only 116,000 pages in that drawer. If I did want to go after e-commerce, that would be what I'm selling. You have a low amount of competitive pages, high search volume. That's something you could go after. So every combination you put in here, where are you located? Second row. Yep. Lancaster. So if I look for ductless air conditioner Lancaster, let's switch to installation. There's only 91,000 pages in that drawer. Game on, game on, game on, game on, game on. That is beyond easy. We would consider that very, very, very low competition. If I get rid of the word ductless, 5.9 million pages, you see the difference. So tell me a place near Lancaster that's maybe smaller in population. What's another location? Say that again? Rockbridge. There you go. 330,000 pages in that drawer. So for you, if you are going after your first location over this location, it's going to take you a year to make progress and make money. If you need to be in the top 10 of millions, or if you need to be in the top 10 of 300,000, 3 months prior to air conditioning season, I'd be working on getting content, a page in my store, marketing, make that page popular so that it becomes in the top 10 of 330,000. So by the time the heat comes, I'm sitting pretty. Now I'm an option for the service I want to sell in a city I want to sell it quickly so I can make some dough and then do it again. Yes, sir.
I live in a rural area, and so we don't just work for one city. We have several small cities and tens of the whole parish of Louisiana.
Tell me the city name, one of them.
It's Amite, that's A-M-I-T-E, Louisiana.
So what I'm going to do, I love rural cities. So for you, I have a client, Tom's Heating and Air Conditioning, out of Arkansas. So Fort Smith, something, Arkansas. Similar, real small towns, lots of them. No matter what search term, so I have the highest volume in total number of consumers looking for something is AC repair. Air conditioner repair, air conditioning repair, furnace repair, heater repair, boiler repair, all the repairs, those are all high search volumes. And your high search volume is lower than almost every other industry. You don't have, it's not like real estate or insurance or medical where you have a mass, or cars. You don't have a, 30,000 people shopping for air conditioning repair in a particular city. You guys have to be on page 1 of Google for a lot of search terms to have a higher volume of people looking for what it is that you need. You can't focus on just a few. So in your area, the fact that these are small, you have the highest search for term in your industry. In a city, there's only 183,000 pages in that drawer. There's a couple ads on the page which tell me that it's a good money-making place, because people are only, if you see no ads showing here, that often will mean that someone has tried ads and didn't get any searches, or lots of companies have tried ads and didn't get anything. So it's not a huge market. Sometimes that'll vary. You have 3, you have 4, well, that's an ad. You have 3 in your local pack. But I got no reviews, 1 review, and nothing. You're sitting on a gold mine in your area, because my guess is the majority of companies are not doing much right here.
Is there such thing as having too much information on here?
No. No, because think of it like this. If I have a store and I have a door on this side, 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 if I search for AC repair, I'm not coming to the front of your website. I'm coming to yourwebsite.com/AC repair in Emmett, Louisiana. I came through that door. So my vantage point, my view, your consumer's view, once you're, bless you, sitting on page 1 of Google is, they're gonna come through a door for what it is they're looking for. The rest doesn't matter. Someone else is looking for that. So there's no technical stop point. No one's asked that in any other room. I'm glad you did. In fact, when we get into the nuts and bolts of AC repair, AC service, AC installation, AC replacement, AC maintenance, AC tune-up, AC financing, new air conditioner system financing, AC inspection. Why would I say AC inspection? Who searches for that? You thought? Realtors. Right? There's an inspector who went and was helping a home buyer buy a new house, and they wrote on an inspection, your air conditioning and furnace systems need to have an inspection before we can clear this condition to close. I see them all the time because my family owns a real estate company. So you don't just have those search terms. Let's say that you install heating systems in barns or wineries, or cellars, or attics, or tiny houses, or houseboats, or anything in manufactured homes. Every piece of content. So what do you want to sell? Where do you want to sell it? What do you want to install it in? So if I look for houseboat, let's go heater repair. My husband and I live on a houseboat during the summers. If I look for houseboat heater repair, this is our client out of Seattle, Washington. And last year in Seattle, around December, January, we got crazy weather. Like, we're not used to snow, we're real pansies, but we live on a boat. So when it's freezing and we have a foot of snow and everything is frozen for a long time, like our walls are cold, our floors are cold, the water is freezing, the pipes are bursting, we can't get water from the marina docks, and we have no heat. So we called our client because my mom lives on a boat, our kids live on a boat, and we were asking them, we asked our client, hey, can we build a page for you to address the fact that none of these guys have heat? So we built a page, Houseboat Heating and Air Conditioning in Seattle, Washington. He had no content. So we used a picture of our family, just put up a little bit of text on the page and send us a message. The entry door was Houseboat heater repair in Seattle, Washington. That wound up being the sole page that took his business through January because he was the only company that focused on houseboat heater repair. He was taking care of all of the companies that were on the lake, or I said companies, all of the houseboats, vessels, lakefront properties, and houseboats that are sitting on the lake, on Lake Union, and that wound up being his niche. So you guys have other things that are niches that I wouldn't know about. We had a client in California that he called and he was like, well, we can install an earthquake shutoff valve. So my first thing is, that's cool. Totally didn't know you could shut off an earthquake. And secondly, I was like, let's do it. Let's put it on the site and see what comes up. So we wound up putting it on the site. He wound up ranking on page 1 of Google. The news did a big article about how, they were having small tremors, how everybody needed to have this installed in their house. Boom, he's the only one ranking. We have a guy in Vegas who, the news article he called, he was like, there's a big story coming out about the energy companies doing major rebates for high efficiency systems. I want to jump on that bandwagon. So we created pages and content for this high efficiency systems energy and tax rebates. And he wound up having that be his #1 most trafficked pages. Have a guy in Fishkill, New York, Jersey. And he started doing oil to gas conversions. That was his #1 way of getting new business. He found something that was a low competition phrase in a city, went out, did the work, and they got really good at upselling them on other things. They got really good at doing home energy audits, on doing evaluations, free evaluations on their systems and so forth, and that's how they were upselling. I'll give you one more example. Last year, one of the highest products sold on Amazon during Christmas, you guys want to guess what it is? Wrapping paper. I like that, was very logical. So it was a cool little techno gadget. It's in your industry. Nest thermostats. People were buying Nest thermostats like crazy on Amazon. So we simply went to all of our clients and say, hey, who's interested in installing a Nest thermostat? And we built pages for Nest thermostat installation in blank, the cities that they want, and they started getting calls, especially for the ones that were in high competition areas. If they were sitting in Toronto and couldn't get found because it was a big city, big population, if they could get in the door during December when traffic is already low because of the holidays, they were able to get in the door, take a look at some other things, do an evaluation, and upsell them on other things. But it's, how can I get my phone to ring? So the question, your original question, which I'm glad you asked because I went down a whole rabbit hole, which is good. But your original question is there any amount of content that's too much? The answer is quite frankly no. What the problem would be is if you have a website where 794 of your pages are on page 1 of Google, whatever the total volume of business is, calls you get, whatever that is, it is what it is. We can't alter demand. Demand is there are a certain number of homes with a certain amount of heating and air conditioning systems that have a certain amount of problems, right? We can't modify that unless we go, pellet shooting air conditioning systems, which is probably not allowed. But we can't fix that unless there's a major storm. So if everything you own is already ranking on page 1 of Google, your question is, are you comfortable with the demand you have right now, or do you want to grow? Every company will plateau. When you put a website in place and every one of those pages gets ranked on page 1 of Google, your company goes like this, and then it's going to sit here just like this. And hopefully the only thing it does is plateau and it doesn't start going down. It will go down if the dealers around you are doing more, if they're adding more content, doing more optimization, and so forth. Does that make sense? Okay. Technically, you don't have to. If I know where you're going, and the answer is yes, right? If you want to grow, then your mindset for all of this stuff, it's going to sit just like this. You're going to have 3 things that matter. You're going to have, what am I doing that works? And you either choose to take it, what you already have, or do more. You're going to have, what am I doing that's not working? I'm either going to keep burning the cash on that because it's all I know, or I'm just refuse to make a change, or I'm gonna stop spending money on that and I'm gonna reallocate it to something that works. And the biggest question for all of you for growth is, what's next? You go back to this 12-step roadmap. What's next? There's a whole giant list of here. I don't have anybody doing all 12 steps in the heating and air conditioning industry. Other industries, absolutely. This industry, plumbing, electrical, none. I have people dibbling and dabbling, but this is 12 steps and 12 stages. If you click on this download, if you click on download, we give you a whole bunch of different things, but inside here, there's something called the 12-step roadmap, 2020. Every single step is 12 steps and 12 stages. I know you can't read this because I can't read this, it's too small. But here's the thing. Every phase of the business includes some elements of these steps. So in phase 1, I would want to make sure that you guys had a really good brand, a good logo. The logo was designed in Photoshop. It's not in violation of any copyrights. You aren't going to get sued for snagging somebody's image, which we see all the time. These things happen. I would want the logo to be in a PSD file where I can put it on a white background, on a dark background. I can shrink it down to a favicon and put it up at the very top up here. Or I can blow it up and I can put it on a sign, or I can print it on a shirt. It needs to be a real logo, not something your buddy did, your friend did. You only have one version and you cropped it off a website or something. I would start with that. I want to make sure that you guys can answer your phones anywhere. And why not be able to take video calls? Why not be able to do an estimate from a video walkthrough? I have guys right now that are using Zoom as their phone system. And literally when somebody contacts them, they'll say, well, if you do me a favor on my website, you can go to the site and you can upload 3 photos. We want to make sure we have the serial number and the manufacturer or something. Right? The model number. And they'll say, if we can set up time to do a video walkthrough, I'll send you a link, you can join my meeting room, and if you can just show me what we're working with, I'll get you an estimate without coming out there, and I'll be within $300 of what the price is going to be guaranteed. He doesn't drive anywhere. He's killing it though, because he has the right technology in place, he's got a good phone system in place, he's got his video call in place, he can do business from anywhere. I know that it's different, but sometimes that's what sells. Especially it might not work in the rural area. You're gonna have bandwidth issues, you're gonna have other things. But if you're sitting in Toronto, or LA, or Houston, you've got a consumer base of people that move real fast and have a lot going on. They're busy. And the easier you can make it for them, the more you can stand out and say, look, I do things a little bit different here. We're so good at what we do. I can take these 3 images, do a video walkthrough, and I can feel confident that I'm gonna get you an estimate I can stick to. Are you comfortable with that? For someone like me, I'm like, yeah, yes. Please, make it easy for me. I can't be home. I gotta be able to do all these things from anywhere. So those are things to consider. Making sure that your email hosting is in place. You guys don't need to hire a IT company. You don't need Microsoft Exchange. You don't need Microsoft SharePoint. All you need is G Suites. It's a Google app that lets you have an email address. It's at your company domain. It allows you to have Google Drive, which is files. Everything's in the cloud. You can work from anywhere. You can hire somebody, let them go, reassign all their stuff in a matter of 2 seconds. The security's in place, the setup's in place. You guys, no .aols, no Yahoos, no Hotmails, no @Verizons, no @Verizon.me's. We can't have anything that's unprofessional that scares people, because they're already nervous of hiring somebody who they're unfamiliar with what you guys do. They don't know who to trust. I would have no clue who to contact. So you want to eliminate all those barriers, making sure you have a good email address and making sure you guys don't get burned by IT companies trying to sell you all this licensed expensive stuff. That's important.
What did you say we had to have?
It's called G Suite. So do this. You guys get your cell phones real quick, and I'm going to have you send a text message. Anything that I'm talking about you want a link to, an example of, a referral to, a discount code for, you're going to text this number. So just type in 877-839-1122. And for now, just type in the word the numbers 411 and hit send. For example, if you want a link to G Suite, just say, hey, I need G Suite, or I need an email hosting provider. Or if you guys are getting ready to sign up for a piece of software, let's say someone calls you and they say, hey, I'm from Google and I saved these top spot for you. You can say, hey, I got a call from this number. They say they're Google. Is this legit? And we'll say, no, Google will never call you. They are not telling you the truth. Run, right? So it's G-S-U-I-T-E. So actually right here under marketing, step 1, email hosting is right there, and there's a link to it with the discount code on it. Everything I'm telling you is on this website too. You can access anything on there. If you want a guided tour, that's what Clay's here for. Clay, raise your hand. Clay is over there to my left, to your right. Clay will take you on a guided tour of all the different options and help get you guys started on the right thing, help you prioritize what you need. I'm gonna move back to this for just a second. So every single one of these 12 steps, it's not 12 steps, it's 12 steps and 12 stages. Yes, ma'am? The website address? Clay will get you a card and it has it on it. Will you hand everyone a card? Pretty please. And it'll have the website address at the bottom of that card for you. We'll make it easy. Perfect. That phone number I just gave you, like save it as dial a nerd. I don't know. That's my team. When you guys text that number, I get a message on my watch. Clay gets a message, Mike gets a message, Kathy gets a message, our developers get a message, and we all can go in and help you guys with stuff. Because sometimes you can't sit down and have a phone call, but you can say, hey, someone's trying to sell me a review buzz. Should I do it or not? You know, what are the pros and cons? And we'll send you an article we wrote on it and say, this is what we think. This is why we think you should do something else, or yes, it's a good idea. Every one of these steps and stages, you're not going to do them all at the same time. You need to be able to ebb and flow in and out of these different areas. And by the time you perfect something, don't worry, it'll change. So the reality is, starting with step 1, everyone in here that's in a rural area, raise your hands so I know. Just front row? Everyone else is highly, where are you located?
The big city around me is Columbus, so we actually take care of most of Ohio.
Oh, you're in Ohio. You're golden. Ohio's killer. We just got back from there. Mike and I were just in Ohio for the last. Okay. And he was just there. Fantastic. Yeah, we were just there. So we sat in that class in Ohio, and I was like, wow. Man, I mean, it's hard for me not to open up HVAC lead generation sites and just sell leads. It'd be a lot easier than convincing everybody to go do the right thing. Because you get into these places, these pockets in Ohio and Arkansas and Alabama and Georgia, and you have all of these pockets of places. It doesn't matter, east of the mountains in Washington. Those rural areas, you guys can take those to the grave. I mean, those, you can take those because the industry as a whole is so far behind. The only time you start running into a lot of competition is in major cities for the most part. So in Toronto, you got to get more creative. I mean, you're going to have to do more of the 12-step roadmap. You have to do it sooner. You have to put more energy into it. You have to have a little bit more time to burn. But each one of these steps, so I'm just going to go through each one of these from a time standpoint. I have 5, 10. Okay. Step 1, branding. That is your logo, your brand, your design, your company mission and vision, and so forth. Step 1 also includes your website. It's got to be designed and developed correct right out of the gate. What we've done is work with Goodman for the last 10 years to build what we consider the most powerful HVAC marketing website there is on the planet for the least investment. The reason is they don't last long. They last for about 18 to 24 months. The last thing you guys need to do is spend a tremendous amount of money custom designing some fancy-dancy website that takes you 9 months to get it live, only to have it only have 10 months shelf life after that, or 12 months shelf life. So we try and make it really simple to get into a website. All of those websites, you can actually see all those designs before you decide to do anything. They start with 197 pages already pre-created inside the website. We don't need any insights from anyone on what we should do. All I need to know is, what do you want to sell? Where do you want to sell it? Those two things. With that information, we can construct and piecemeal the site together. Now, when you have a site launch, you're not going to have content for every one of those pages that's pre-constructed. So we'll use pictures, images, videos, downloadable PDFs, sometimes a product, to have something on the page. But once the web page shows up on page 1 of Google, so if you launched a site and AC Repair, Amet, Louisiana, all of a sudden was on page 1 of Google, we need to rethink that page, and that's when you're going to want to add content that's convincing to a consumer, promotions that make them want to take actions, pictures and reviews to the page that make them feel comfortable and confident, and a call to action with the ability to convert a lead. But prior to the page showing up on page 1 of Google, don't put a ton of energy into it. It doesn't matter if no one can find it, who cares? What you guys need to focus on is, what can I put into place today that I can get people to find, and then once they find it, then go back to the drawing board, add content, add promotions, add pictures, and so forth. Then that's how you bootstrap a marketing plan. Now, if you go talk to somebody that all they do is sell websites, they're going to disagree with me all day long, and that's just fine, because I'm going to tell you the entrepreneur version, which means we don't have a lot of time, we don't have a lot of money, and I don't have a ton of cash to spend all up front and do it all at once. So you guys got to kind of piecemeal this together. That's first, is starting off with, get that website off the ground, get it going, and then if you're in a rural area, you're probably not going to have to do a ton with all of these steps to make it happen. The steps are going to help you, but in reality, step 1, website. Step 2, technically you need 1 page of content for every service you want to sell in every city you want to sell it. That's a lot. Right now, you need content for just a couple phrases in a couple locations that you can make some money at. Start with that and then do it again. Start with that and then do it again. Like, ease into it, make some cash. Conversion systems. Every audience tells me how they want to buy. Most consumers don't want to fill out a contact us form and don't want to call. And those are the 2 things on every single website. Most consumers want to chat, they want to be able to text, they want to be able to schedule online, or maybe call. The last thing they want to do is fill out a contact us form. They're going to fill out 5 of them and you're going to be in competition from day 1. If you don't give consumers a way to do business with you that's easy, if they can't text you, if they can't chat with you, if they can't fill out a online form, you might not get the business, or you're going to be in competition right out of the gate. Next, local marketing. There are thousands of websites that essentially you need to own. You need to own your company's name, address, place. We call it a NAP owner. If you don't own it, you'll be on the listing, but your buddy down the street's going to have their phone number on your listing because they claimed it and you didn't. That happens constantly. That's a process. To me, it's like telling my kids to clean their room. It's not an option. Like, you need to own your own directories and your own listings. They all need to match. Depending on how competitive your area is, you need to do it now. In Amet, Georgia, we can probably wait on that and come back to it in a minute. Okay? Reviews and reputation. Every one of you is getting calls from review companies, Podium and Nearby Now and Review Kangaroo and all these different apps to try and sell you a system to get reviews. Quite frankly, you guys need to get reviews in 2 places. 1, on your Google business listing, on your Google Maps account. And 2, you need to get it on your website by city. So if Toronto's your main area, but you have the ability to go out, there's other pockets around Toronto, there's smaller towns and smaller cities, you've got to go after Toronto because that's where Google has your business validated. But if you were able to start going after those other pockets and cities around that, by getting reviews and doing check-ins to show you're doing work in those areas, you might start making money in a city that's a little bit outside of Toronto faster than you do in Toronto. For you want to go after all of the little pockets and towns. If you guys, every time you go on a job, you have an app. There's only one app that does this, and we're constantly looking for the best review app there is. There's one, it's called Nearby Now. It is the only app that on your phone you have the ability when you go on a job to say, I'm installing a new air conditioning system, check in, and it automatically tags you to that geolocation, that city. And then when you get done with the job, ask for a review. Those 2 pieces of content can go to your web team. They can create a new city page, optimize it for that location. That essentially is how you can start getting found for all of the cities and towns and suburbs around where your main business is. Just get reviews in those cities, have them placed on your website. You'll wind up showing up on all of those different search terms, especially for you because it's low competition. Okay? 2? All right. So finally, social media, you gotta be there. I mean, I call it a keep you alive program. Spend $100 a month, get it off your shoulders right now. Add to it later, contribute personal content when you can, but get all the main basic stuff, all your holidays and all that. Make sure you have good content come in on a regular basis. Just outsource it as quickly as possible. Start with Facebook, that's your primary pace. Facebook can auto post to Instagram, it can auto post to Twitter. You do not need to spend a ton of money on social media if you're not ranking on page 1 of Google, which is where people are searching. Search engine optimization, essentially, if you've done step 1 through 6, congrats, you're halfway to SEO, which just means the pages on your website are now ranking on page 1 of Google. Here's the challenge, without getting into all this other stuff, usually what happens is people will come to the table with $5 grand and say, I want to spend it on pay-per-click. Not one room tells me they click on the ads, but everybody wants to spend it on pay-per-click, which is the ads. And what I wish I knew was, if on your balance sheet, if that $5 grand was money that you would be willing to drop at a craps table or at a blackjack table in Vegas, you should spend it on pay-per-click. But if you're not willing to lose it, you can't go in thinking I'm gonna drop $5 grand on pay-per-click and all of a sudden that's gonna pay the rent the next month. It would be better to invest in things that are permanent assets for the business, not temporary spends. If I do TV, that's temporary. When you stop spending or you run out of money, you have nothing. You're right back where you started. Print, you want to send out mailers, you stop spending, you're out, you have nothing. Radio, you have nothing after you stop spending. Most social media, you have nothing after you've been doing it. Website, content, reviews in the right area, they are permanent. YouTube videos, they're permanent. They give you compounding interest impact on your business. The longer they exist, the more they do for you, and you don't have to keep spending money on them forever and ever and ever. Is this helpful? Yes? Okay. All right, with that, we have another group coming in a couple minutes. Do you guys have any questions before we jump out of here? All done? If you do, Clay Howard is right there. Kathy Marshall is right there. Mike Hicklin right there. Scott Smith right there. Our team's here. We're here to help. Take advantage, sit down, and let's rock and roll. Thank you.